All right, Weather Weenies. Twisters Week is finally drawing to a close. I am utterly exhausted, but this has been probably one of the best weeks ever. So I said the last day, day 5, would be People's Choice, and the thing I heard most was people wanted my feedback on the Twisters film. So here we go. And there may be spoiler alerts in this. So if you don't want any spoiler alerts, like save it or something and come back to this. Overall, I thought the movie was really well done. It's like such a fine balance between how do you make it entertaining and available for the general public, but also seem real, right? It has to have that genuineness. And so you need buy in from the scientific community, and they did it. Is it still a Hollywood blockbuster film? Yes. Are there still things in here that are absolutely wrong and ridiculous? Yes. But I was able to watch it and put all that aside, and I genuinely enjoyed it. So let's talk about 3 things they got right about chasing and then 3 things they got wrong. The first thing they got really right is like the chaser convergence that you see at gas stations. You pull over to stop and fuel up because you do. And every time there's other storm chasers, and everybody is really friendly. Like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? Oh, yeah, I've heard of you. Oh, I follow you on Twitter. It's a small community, and it's a pretty close one. Number 2, the terminology. So, as you heard, and if you haven't heard yet, go back and listen to the Stormfront Freaks podcast episode we recorded on Thursday, July 18th. We were behind the scenes with meteorologists and people that Twisters actually brought on board to make sure they were being meteorologically accurate. So, when they talk about CAPE and shear and helicity and all that, it was good. They were talking the talk. It wasn't perfect, but it was a massive improvement from the first Twisters film. Radar images showed what they should actually show in velocity images, and things correlated really well. The other thing they really got right is that every person on a storm chase team has a role. I'm a driver. Dina's my navigator. Phil's a driver. You have someone who's looking at like weather maps and weather data. You have someone who's like looking outside, making sure you have situational awareness. Chasing solo would be darn near impossible today with all the technology and everything like that. He'd be too distracted. And you can't drive down the road and be getting warnings and watching radar and looking at the storm and doing all those things at once. So you need to divvy up those responsibilities to be safe, and they did a good job showing that. Now let's talk about 3 things that Twister got wrong. And I'm going to give the spoiler alert one more time. When they're sitting there at the rodeo in the evening and are surprised everyone's phone warnings go off and it's like, oh my God, there's a tornado and it's right there. No. Reason being is because any reasonable storm chaser out there knows where all the storms around them are at all times and are probably glued to their cell phone, their laptop, and they are looking at radar frequently. Not only that, but how much better National Weather Service warnings have gotten is incredible, right? So in the 1980s, it was like 4 or 5 minutes, maybe if you were lucky. Now our warning time averages about 13 minutes. And there are instances where people are able to get tornado warnings almost 30 minutes before a tornado occurs. Might be hard to believe. We do a really good job now. So that rodeo would have not gone on. Oklahomans are, and people in the entire Midwest are very much aware of the weather. They stay very weather aware. If it would have gone on, people would have been paying attention to that. That event would have been postponed, canceled, something like that. And those storm chasers, especially in those bleachers, would have seen that thing coming for a while. Number 2, driving through fields with wind turbines everywhere. Oh, hell to the no. 1, that's private property. We ain't pissing anybody off. 2, there are often fences, gates, all kinds of stuff like that. It ain't happening. Number 3, you don't want to get stuck. And when you're out chasing, we have to actually look for some dirt roads in some places and make sure we don't take them, because if we take a dirt road and it rains after, that mud turns to a special kind of yuck that you have never experienced. I say this from experience. I've had my truck stuck in those before. I've had to be towed out and pulled out with oncoming hail cores. I did dumb things when I was in college. So driving through those fields, tearing it up, getting yourself stuck probably, going through private property, no to the no to the no. The last thing they got wrong is their frequency of success, their frequency of seeing storms and tornado producing ones and being on the right one at the right time was incredibly optimistic. Back in the old days of chasing, it was like a 1 to 10 ratio of success. Like 10 storm chases would maybe get you a tornado. With technology changes and stuff like that, it's a little bit better now. Maybe it's like 1 in 7 or 1 in 8 for most people. Unless your name is Reed Timmer. Damn it, that guy's good. But it just doesn't happen as fast as that. So like when we're out chasing, we figure out where we want to be. We're driving for hours to get to that position. We're kind of waiting. We're looking. You reevaluate. Maybe we'll go after that storm, and you follow it for a while. And is it going to kind of... It's a little bit more boring than Hollywood makes it. Also, with the exception of the rodeo, it was like always daylight for them and always so convenient. Having said all that, it's a really great movie. I'm wrestling in my brain with some of the thermodynamics of the ending. It's just too much of a jump for me, and I think they said cold and it should be hot, and I'll deal with that later. Overall, it's a great movie. They did a great job representing some aspects about storm chasing, and there were a few misses still, but otherwise, it was a great movie. This has been an incredible week for Twisters Week, and I hope you all have enjoyed every ounce of it like I have.